Stock market saw some pretty dramatic days over the last week, to say the least. In all of that was the massive surge for GameStop and other companies that are struggling to stay above water. The Biden administration says that it is monitoring the situation, but some lawmakers are pushing for action from the SEC. Joining me to talk about this is business and financial analyst Brock Pierce. Brock, I want to be careful because a lot of this can get over your head quickly if you're not very well-versed in the stock market and how all of this works. But this is a big deal. This seems to be unprecedented as far as investing.
No question. This is a potentially game-stopping event. And to put it simply, you have to understand two basic things. Most of us understand the concept of buying a stock. This is the idea of buying a share, hoping that the price of that stock goes up, meaning the company performs well, that it does well, and you bought it because you believe in their products and services. There's another thing called shorting a stock. This is to bet against a company where you borrow a share, hoping the price goes down, and then you buy it back and return it, making the spread or the difference. The one issue with shorting a stock is the most you can make is double your money. But if that stock goes up, your losses can be infinite. And so what happened with GME or GameStop is that short sellers borrowed and sold more than 100% of all the stock there is. They sold 140%, perhaps even more. This defies the laws of physics. They sold more shares than there is. What they did is they saw a weak company and they put it into a death spiral, and they're trying to put a nail into the coffin, trying to kill an American company and kill American jobs at a time where they're desperately needed. And some normal people, regular people, using publicly available information, saw that this was happening and said, no, we're going to stop this game. We're going to change the game. And they started to buy the stock, sending it up, potentially putting these merchants of death, these sellers that try to kill companies and jobs out of business. And it looks like the people might prevail. The people might win. This is a David versus Goliath story. And another thing that's worth noting is that there's this retail trend. The American people are learning to save. The American people are learning to invest. So all this stimulus money, because they couldn't go out to restaurants, they couldn't spend it, they started to invest it. And so the American people started buying up this stock, principally using a platform called Robinhood. But it turns out that this Robinhood works for the sheriff of Nottingham. This Robinhood believes in stealing from the poor and giving to the rich.
Right, because Robinhood and some of the other, they're now limiting the amount that you can purchase in certain stocks and shutting it down altogether, which, I've heard calls on both sides. Initially, some people who are big into investing saying things are getting too volatile. This is wild. The SEC needs to step in and shut this down. Initially, TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab did the same as Robinhood. They put some limits on buying stocks. Then as things started to play out, people started to understand what's going on. There's now this big call for the SEC to go the other way, to stop these investment venues from being able to limit people. And really, it's just put this spotlight on the whole system, and whether or not this is fair, this is market manipulation. Clearly, I think I hear where you stand on it.
Yeah, this is an epic battle, and what we're seeing is, are these platforms like Robinhood and others, are they going to be permitted to stop the people from buying this stock and essentially manipulating the price down for the benefit of these hedge funds? And again, this is not a criticism of hedge funds. This is not a criticism of Wall Street. This is a very small number of players that are participating in killing these American jobs. And so are they going to prevent this stock from rising at to harm the American people, the retail, for the benefit of these institutions? And so Robinhood and others have done that. It dropped the stock by 50%. And then when the markets reopened on Friday, it popped back up 60%. And so it's going to be a very exciting week. And when the markets open tomorrow, this is a potentially fatal situation for, again, a small group of hedge funds attempting to profit from killing American jobs.
I know AMC, everybody's watching come Monday as well. Do you think that going forward here, has the playing field been forever changed when it comes to investing?
There's no question. What we're seeing is that the little person, the retail investor can win. They've profited immensely from this. Obviously, we can't defy the laws of gravity. What goes up will come down. We are beyond fundamentals at this point. GameStop is effectively not even what's in play here. The people realize that a small group of hedge funds overextended themselves, got themselves trapped in a bear trap. And if the American people hold the line, this is like right out of the movie 300, this is Sparta or Braveheart. If they can hold the line, these institutions profiting from this could fail.
Do you think the Biden administration needs to come out stronger on this? Because we've heard some officials kind of saying, yes, they are monitoring, but they've got bigger fish to fry with the economy and coronavirus. But I think there's a big call here for some action from the SEC.
Yeah, and I hope what the SEC does here is recognize what the real problem is. And that is to say, how is it possible that a few hedge funds sold more than 100% of the stock that exists, and this defies the laws of physics? The SEC should step in and say, wow, this is a major problem, and we're going to figure out what happened and ensure that this can never happen again. That is the issue at heart here, and I hope they recognize the problem and address the issue and do not step in and try to protect a couple of hedge funds that might be bad actors and potentially put the entire faith, trust, and confidence in the financial system at risk. Let's stop bad behavior. Let's be accountable for what happened here, and let's let this thing play out.
All right, financial analyst Brock Pierce, thank you so much for joining us tonight, providing a little bit of insight there.